And I think we've got five updates and 9 new cases. Let's get into our updates. So case number 127960, we just didn't have a date on it, didn't have a shape. The classification was an AN1. I'll get into the valet classifications when we get into the new cases, but for now it's the AN1. Nothing in the short description, missing data in the detailed description. Anna Scott was investigating that, and she completed as insufficient data. She made multiple attempts to contact the witness with no reply, and that's just the reality of it sometimes. Sometimes we just can't get a response from them. But in the report contained no information other than contact information. So we're closing it with the disposition of insufficient data, but we can always reopen it if the witness contacts us. So I always want to, it's a great reminder, even though our cases are closed, they're never really finished because we'll always accept more information and more data. And if we have to change the disposition because of new data, we change the disposition. So we're always open to doing that. Case number 127533-U took place on December 25th, 2022. Working on Christmas. What's up with these ETs? At 6:57 p.m., a circle was seen, AN1, anomaly of the first kind, in Eden Prairie, a strange non-blinking orange light, and it was Linda Folkerts-Maleka was working on this one. It was in progress when I showed it to you before. Now it's been completed. Insufficient data. So she made numerous attempts to interview the witness, but the witness wishes to remain private. Investigators taken the witness statement and researched all available avenues pertaining to the event on the evening of December 25th, that's 7 o'clock. Object seen north and northwest. Although there were no astrological events happening a few days before and after the sighting, or there were, including a G1 class geometric storm with solar flare, 14 fireballs reported, Mars located in the north-northeast, waning crescent moon, Ursa and Geminid meteor showers occurring. None were associated with this area or time frame. Is Linda doing a good job or what? And she's one of our newer field investigators. Look at all the stuff Linda's doing for us. Linda, thank you very much. Congratulations for doing such a fine job for MUFON. Location of residence is bordering on the east side of Eden Brook Conservation Area, west of the Lotus Lake. Flying Cloud Airport 6 miles away to the southeast, and Minneapolis Airport's 15 miles to the east. FlightAware did not show any aircraft over this area. So she's checking with the airlines too at the time given, nor were there any launches of SpaceX. In the witness statement, it appears there was a familiarity with planes because of where she lived. And their sights and sounds of planes. So it appears the witness knows this stuff and was really confident this was not a known aircraft. Witness stated 3 short videos were taken, but they weren't accompanied with the report. So although this investigator was able to search for anomalies in the sighting area, and it sounds like she did some searching. So again, Linda, thank you. Great job. It appears it may have been an unknown object. It can only be determined that without the witness interview, the disposition of this case will have to be insufficient data. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. The witness interview is that important. It really, I don't want to say it's a deal breaker, but you really turn a case around. It's really that critical. So Linda, thank you so much for your work on that case. Case number 128675-U took place on February 11th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Shape was not applicable. FB1 flyby of the first kind in Jenkins. Saw lights hovering while traveling south on Highway 372. Anna was working on that. It was in progress at the time and now. So we got the pictures on this one. So I think we have like 5 or 6 pictures. Let's go through these real quick. So. Oh, we got a little video, but I've showed you the video before, so we're probably not going to spend a lot of time on the video. Not sure how long this one is, but pass on. Advancing, yeah, okay, so we got that. We got cooler pictures of the new stuff, so, but completed IFO man-made objects. So Anna was looking, I was able to contact the witness, however, we communicated several times via email, and a specific date and time were never agreed upon. The lights that were filmed and photographed are consistent with navigation and anti-collision lights used on commercial drones. There was an event near where the witness states he saw the lights. The 2023 Bobber Bocce on Ice event, a sporting competition on Sibley Lake, was just outside of Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. Was supposed to be concluded by 1700 hours, but it's unclear what time the event actually closed. Since it's a large event in the area, it is likely that at least one of the commercial drones was in use to provide an aerial view. Closing this case with the disposition of IFO unmade or man-made objects. So Anna, thank you so much for that. And of course, as always, new information could change that, but now that looks like that's what we got with this one. So case number 129069-U took place on February 19th, 2023 at 7:15 p.m. A triangle was seen in Minneapolis. Bright white lights like a star with occasional blinks seen with binoculars looked like 3 faded lights in the shape of a triangle, one big bright. So Bill McNeff was working on this one, and Bill closed it out. IFO natural phenomenon. So this object was identified with a high degree of certainty as the planet Venus. So disposition unknown and natural objects. So Bill, definitely thank you so much for your work on that one. We appreciate everything that you do for Minnesota MUFON. Case number 129208-U took place on February 23rd of this year at 7:15 p.m. The shape was an other in Bram, which is in Isanti County. sitting by my window having smoke. Back to the smoking thing, which comes up so often. Then out of the corner of my eye, I see three bright lights, three objects circling around each other, very bright. Bill Odden was working on that. We got Bill in the house here today too. So let's see what Bill found out. So unknown UAV. So the witness was in the house by the window when she notices lights over by nearby trees. There were three lights at treetop spinning and blinking. She had the garage in the marsh and across.
No phones on.
Oh, we need to mute some people, I think. Can we mute some people? Mute everyone but me. How about that? Three lights to one orange blinking ball. When she turned away, it disappeared. We were unable to contact her, but how close it was, it should have been a very good sighting. So he closed it as disposition, unknown UAV. Yeah, the host can you can mute everyone except for me.
Sometimes it can be good, or sometimes like.
Now we're getting into our new.
Right now they're doing the info update tab.
Getting into our new cases. So new cases for this. So this is again from March 11th, the date of our last meeting, through yesterday. So we'll spend a little more time. 11 cases came in. Can you mute everyone but me, please?
Chad.
So we had 11 cases came in. 2 were ERT cases. So I can't show you the ERT cases. So I'm going to show you 9 of the cases, 9 of the 11. The submission date range was, again, March 11th through yesterday. And the citing date range goes back to September 2nd of 2004, all the way through March 23rd of this year. We didn't have any cases of interest. We didn't have any rapid close systems, but we had the shapes that we're going to look at. We're going to see 3 circle sightings, 1 sphere sighting, 3 triangles, 3 square triangles, and 1 just didn't have anything listed. So we don't have anything for that. So there's 1 had nothing listed. So our valet classifications. So that's one of the ways that MUFON categorizes cases that come in. Valet is named after Jacques Vallée, who was a mentee of J. Allen Hynek, who worked at Project Blue Book, and MUFON was kind of founded on all that. So we kind of broke down one of our sightings into different categories, and they're called valet classifications. So we're going to look at 2 AN1 cases. That's 2 anomalies of the first kind. So MUFON defines an anomaly of the first kind as anomalies do not have long-lasting physical effects, such as amorphous lights or unexplained explosions. So we're going to see 2 of those. We've got 2 AN2s, so that's 2 anomalies of the second kind. So MUFON defines anomalies of the second kind as anomalies with lasting physical effects, such as some poltergeist phenomenon, apports or material objects, and areas of flattened grass. We've got 1 MA of the first kind. So MA stands for maneuver. So we've got 1 maneuver of the first kind. So MUFON defines a maneuver of the first kind as gathers those UFO observations that involve an object with a discontinuous trajectory, such as a drop, a maneuver, or a loop. So we're going to see 1 MA1. We're going to, and remember, 2 of these are ERTs. We may not see all of them. This is just what came in. 1 CE3, which I think is an ERT case. So, which is, of course, the close encounter of the third kind. And of course, MUFON defines a close encounter of the third kind as a class of close encounters that involve entities or occupants. There's 1 close encounter of the fourth kind. So 1 CE4, and MUFON defines a close encounter of the fourth kind as encompasses the abduction reports in which the witness has not only seen occupants, but claims to have extensively interacted with them inside their craft. So 1 CE4. And we're going to get 4 FB1s. So FB1s, FB stands for flyby. FB1 is a flyby of the first kind. So MUFON defines a flyby of the first kind as a simple sighting of a UFO flying by. The category most frequently reported. So that's what we're going to see today. So we're going to spend a little more time with these because these are new cases that you haven't seen yet. So let's just jump right into it and see what we get. Okay. Case number 129672-U-A. Now the U and the A, I call those qualifiers. I haven't heard if MUFON actually has a name for them, but I call them qualifiers. U stands for UFO, A stands for abduction. And cases could have, sometimes they have no qualifiers, but they could have all 4 qualifiers. And because there's U for UFO, A for abduction, E for entity, and EQ for experience or questionnaire. And EQ, that indicates an ERT case. And we'll never show you the EQ cases, but this took place on June 27th of 2022 at 3:59 a.m. A circle was seen, close encounter of the fourth kind in St. Cloud. This is exactly what they put down for their short description, 24-hour, 1 minute. So that's what the witness entered there. And there's actually about 5 pictures with this one. And the pictures are really cool. There's actually a couple of them are like really cute. I'll show them to you, but we'll get the description first. So I've decided to show some of the pictures. It sounds like it has more. It was real random for some reason. I went to the window, like something told me was real weird. And I decided to take pictures of this storm cloud. This cloud was long, narrow clouds, and they were extremely low, maybe 100, 150 feet high tops, give or take some feet. They almost touched the 3-story building. And at one point, I remember hearing this hum, whine, grinding, metal on metal sound. Then I remember nothing. Then I felt different. I don't know how, just like something was off. And then I watched on the news about this, the tiny cloud that showed purple going across Minnesota, I want to say. Since then, I'm getting back this feeling I've had since a boy, the feeling of missing someone or something like I'm far away from a loved one. I don't know how to explain this. I feel alone, like this is not my kind. I've felt my whole life, like I'm far away from home. I'm more than willing to take a detector to prove that they are real, and I'm not going to post all the photos, but I will post some photos. The photos I'll be showing, and dabbled with colors. I dabbled with colors, and feel free to do some yourself and send them back if you find anything that I don't. So Jared Nelson is working on this one. So we'll show you this one again when it's completed, but we got like 5 photos in this one, and they're really cool photos. So so this is the first one. So remember, he said low clouds and lightning, so you can definitely see we got the lightning going on here and stuff. We don't really see an object, but we will see an object in some of the next ones. But I mean, and really just a beautiful photograph, but it concerns me too. I'm going to quiz the people here in the house. You might know this. There was something that was said here, and I'm going to say here, we can't use these photographs for photo analysis. Can anyone guess why, or does anybody remember why? I know I've mentioned this in meetings before.
You saw it when you looked at the photos.
What's that?
Saw it when you looked at the
No. So Joe is saying he didn't see it until he looked at the photos. No, that is not correct. But actually, if that's the case, that would be one. Well, we can still do a photo analysis of it. Why wouldn't we do a photo analysis on these photos as they are? Because he's modified them. Our photo analysis people, when they do photo analysis, they have to have the untouched, unmodified photo. If you do any sort of tweaking or modifying of the picture at all, it's like contaminating evidence. So once the evidence is contaminated, we can't use it. So he said he did some changing of the color, so this would not be one we can do photo analysis on, but it's still a great photograph. The next one is similar. Now you're beginning to see the object. You don't really see it here, and no, this is not the object. This is more the cloud and the lightning flash, but really interesting, really beautiful photographs. The next one, you're going to start to see the object. It's actually, you're going to see it right here is what he's looking at. This little dot right here. It's even more clear in the next one, but you still got the clouds and the lightning, but really beautiful photographs too. But you've got this object that is right there. That is what he's looking at. In the next picture, it's even, well, I guess it's not as obvious, but you still see it's right there. There's something that's just sitting there, just does not quite look right. And I don't know, can people on the Zoom, are they seeing, I know they can't see my pointer, but are they, can you nod if you think you know what I'm looking at? Are they nodding, I hope, or no? No one's nodding, okay. It's kind of right in the, I don't know if can they see Joe's mouse? Can they see Joe's mouse? No, you have to look at can they see Joe's mouse?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's right there. So that's right. And I'll back it up so you can see it in this one too. So it's right there. Yeah, that's what we're looking at here. It looks like a queen.
It looks like the Queen.
Okay.
of England.
Kathy says it looks like the Queen of England. We've got a Queen of England sighting, and now we know where she is. So she's up in the sky in Minnesota. I don't think that's right. So okay. So is that, and the last one too, another, you're very clear what the object is, but we don't know what it is. A really interesting photograph. So Jared is working on this one. And if you know Jared, he's going to get into it. He's going to dig into it. We're going to find out what's going on with it. I'm curious to find out what Jared finds out about this one. Really interesting case. Case number 129686-U. Again, the U is for UFO. Took place on September 3rd of 2022 at 5:20 a.m. A triangle was seen. Anomaly of the first kind. So we've got that first kind anomaly happened in Minneapolis. Spaceship-looking objects. That's all they wrote. And then this is their full description. Refer to picture. I have many more pics and videos to show. Linda Folkerts Maleka is working on that one. And I think there might not be pictures with this one, or there might just be one picture. So we didn't get a lot of pictures, but we got on this one. I don't know if we got any. Let's see what we got. That's what I wanted to say about this one. So those of you who are in the room, and actually those on Zoom too, does that look familiar to anyone in the room? Look familiar to anyone in the room? I'm guessing someone in the room should recognize it. Anyone on Zoom saying they recognize it?
No.
The reason I'm saying you should recognize this picture is this picture was submitted last month on 3 different cases, this exact same picture. So we've got the same witness submitting another case with the exact same picture. So in the last month, I think he had at least 3 or 5 pictures, and this was one of the more interesting ones. But so I've seen this picture before. It's on 3 other MUFON cases that we're currently working on. So this case, we definitely have the same picture again. And so this case 129687-U, it's the same witness. The same witness submitted this one. He's got a picture with this one too, but it's not that picture. It's a different picture. And I don't think this next picture we've seen before, but it's the same witness. So over the course of 2 months, he submitted 5 different cases with mostly the same pictures, which is not a criticism at all. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. A field investigator can't look at that and say, oh, that's bad. It means he's fake or hoaxing. No, that's jumping to conclusions unreasonably. There could be any number of reasons. Again, that's why the witness interview is really that critical. It is that important. He may be completely sincere. It could be legitimate on the up and up, but it's worth looking into this more to see if we can figure out what's going on. And the witness interview is so important, and this is exactly the reason why. So, and the short description he wrote is unexplainable light observation. Refer to video. And he didn't have a video unless I don't think the next one's a video. So, and Linda Folkerts-Maleka is working on this one, and you saw what she did on that other one. She does a really fantastic job. Great new field investigator for us. So we'll find out. And when Linda finishes this, I'll show it to you again, and we'll see what she comes up with. But I don't think this is let's see. Yeah, that's just a picture. So it's definitely not the same as the other one, but a picture. And again, when you've got just a single point of light at night, and it's black background, there's not a lot you can do with that, but I just want to show you what we've received. So case number 129828-U, so again, U for UFO, took place on March 19th, 2023 at 8:50 a.m. A square rectangle was seen, FB1, flyby of the first kind, remember UFO just flying by, in St. Paul. The witness wrote, large, square, dark object appeared in the sky. After a couple of minutes, lost sight of it as I was driving. Detailed description. I think this one might be the one that has lots of pictures. Well, I've got one that's got a lot of photographs, like 5 or 6 photographs. Observed a large, square, dark object as I was driving south on Highway 61 between 36th and Roselawn Avenue in St. Paul, March 19th at 8:50 a.m. No, this isn't the one with the pictures, but I'll see what I don't know if we got pictures with this one or not. Let's see what we got. No pictures with that one. And Bill Odden is working on that one. So when Bill finishes that one, I will show it to you again, and we'll let you know what Bill concludes on this one. Case number 129830-U took place on June 6th of 2023 at, that can't be right, June 6th of 2023. We got a little time shift here happening. So maybe it's either was entered wrong or I typed it wrong. So I'll go back and check the records and find out if I typed it wrong or not. But I don't think it happened on June 6th, 2023 at 10 a.m. So a sphere was seen, AN2, so anomaly of the second kind. Oh, and I'm investigating this one too. I think that is the date in the database. I think I talked to the witness about it because took place at Faribault. And this is an interesting case. So I observed a 5-foot depression crater in the snow. So from my second-story deck in my backyard, I observed a perfectly round indentation in the snow in my backyard, about 5 feet in diameter. There were no animal or human tracks within 25 feet surrounding it. The snow in the indentation was deeper in the middle, tapering off as it reached the edge. And a little overflow snow was around, like dipping a baseball in a bowl of flour. So you had a bowl, flat flour, take the baseball, dip it in, turn it, pull it out. You'll now have a impression of the baseball. That's kind of how she describes it. I live in the country and we have animals constantly in our yard, but there were no animal tracks near this for about 2 weeks until the snow melted. I did not get any pictures of it, and I regret that now because it's been on my mind for weeks. I hope you don't think I'm a crazy lady, but I just mustered up the courage to report this today. So I'm working on this one. I have interviewed this witness. Really, really interesting report. And she said there was no animal tracks nearby. And she also told me too, she regrets not taking a picture of it. She also told me that even though she could see it from her deck, she wouldn't even go down and look at it firsthand. She wouldn't go into her backyard because it was just that creepy to her. It really creeped her out. She was really kind of upset by it. So, and of course now the snow is all melted and the depression is gone. And Joe has his hand up.
Are you going to measure her radiation?
We'll get there. So yeah, so she's really kind of disappointed about that. So we're investigating it. I know Bill has talked about going down to Faribault. I am planning on going down there. I like to get down there with the Geiger counter because she and her husband are retired. They said, come down anytime. So I'd like to go down there with a Geiger counter and just check some radiation outside of the area, in the area, at chest level, at ground level. Let's do some checking. And I want to test the audience too. And if I can test you on Zoom too, if you want to put it in the chat, but I'm going to test the audience here in person. So me and Bill might go down, or actually if Bill can't, I'm open to any other field investigator going with me because field investigators know you can't go do on-site stuff with witnesses by yourself. You have to have a partner. So I want to make sure I'm adhering to that rule. So I asked the witness to do a couple things over the next couple months. What do you think I may have asked the witness to do over the next couple months? What might I ask her to look for? Any thoughts or ideas? If you got it in the Zoom, put it in the chat. If you got it here in person, throw a hand up. I asked her to do a couple things for me. Any ideas? Yes.
See if anything grows in that spot.
See if anything grows in that spot. Exactly. Give big round of applause. So what I asked her to do is that spot where it happened. I'm curious if no grass grows or if the grass grows better in that spot. It would be interesting to see if there's something different that happens with the grass there. And this you wouldn't have known, but she said about 10 feet from the spot, she has her garden. She gardens there every year. So I asked her to notice that once her plants start coming up, are the plants growing better closer to the spot and not as good further away from the spot? Or are they not growing so well close to the spot and better in the rest of the garden? Or just in general, is the garden growing any differently than it has in past years? So those are things that she's going to keep watching for me. So I plan on going down there in the next couple of weeks to talk to her. I don't know if Bill will go with me, but I do need a field investigator to go with me. Kathy's raising her hand. She'd love to go, or you want a question?
Hope has a couple suggestions. One is a change in growth,
Hmm.
which we've mentioned, and
Yep.
the other is our animals avoiding the area.
They were while the impression was in the snow. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear if she notices any animals are going around it now that
Even
it's melted.
birds.
So even birds, yeah, that's good. So yeah, so thank you. There's Hope that said that.
Yep.
Thank you,
And
Hope.
she's also a new member too.
Hope's a new member. She's not a field investigator either, is she?
No.
And you're a new member. Hope, thank you for joining. Thank you. And good observation, good critical thinking. Would you like to become a field investigator? Hope, talk to me. I can tell you how to do that. So, okay, so I am working on that one. Once we conclude this one, I'll revisit this one. I'll tell you what my conclusions are. So case number 129876-U took place on March 13th or March 19th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. A square rectangle scene, FB1, so flyby of the first kind in Minneapolis. A dark covering trapezoid with white frisbee. This is the one that's got about 5 or 6 pictures. I was driving southwest on I-35 toward MSP Airport. I was approximately 15 minutes from the airport when I looked out my passenger window and saw a dark trapezoid shape hovering the sky. As I was driving, it was intermittently being obscured by trees, buildings, and the ground from my own change in elevation and location while driving. When I was able to see it again after I cleared the obstructions, I noticed there was a white frisbee-shaped object hovering with it to the trapezoid's left-hand side. I observed both intermittently for a few miles and snapped numerous photos through my windshield and passenger window. Oddly, the frisbee is not as visible in the photos as I could see with my naked eye. And I can't really see him in the photos because actually the object is kind of hard to see in the photos, but I don't see the frisbee at all. These objects never seem to move. And of course, when you're in a moving car, it can be really hard to tell if something is moving or not when it's in the sky like that. I last saw them when just entering a part of the city with tall buildings. During this time, the objects seemed to be just above the height of the buildings. Given the traffic, I was able to stop to snap photos during the part of the sighting, but it did appear then to have almost a grid-like pattern on the surface. I have to believe more people than me just saw these things. So he thinks there may be other witnesses. So that's one thing that our field investigators will look at. Are there more sightings on that date in that area or even in neighboring states? Because if it's there, it could be moving from state to state. So it's something we want to look at. So it's currently in progress. Bill Odden is working on it. When Bill completes it, we'll share with you Bill's conclusion. But right now, we're going to share you the pictures. So I believe, you barely see it's right here, right above that exit sign. You see it's kind of but I don't see the frisbee thing. He said, so it's left-hand side. So I don't see the frisbee, but that is the object that I believe is what he's seeing there. And of course, that location, we can easily find that location. We've got the freeway sign, we got the exit sign, we've got the buildings, we can easily reference that and get an idea of exactly where that was in the sky. So that's a great photograph, just kind of locating and identifying where that was. And it did cross my mind, this could be a speck on his windshield. If this was the only picture that we had, you could argue this could be a speck on his windshield. But
what do you call it? He had some kind of magnifying thing on that deal where you could click it, double or triple the price.
oh, he had a magnifier on his camera?
I know on the picture itself, it was sent over the internet, so you could magnify it.
Okay, I guess I'm not familiar with that. So we got,
Because you're too larger.
okay.
Little arrow there, does that turn into a plus sign?
Oh, yeah. Can you, I don't, but you are in the PowerPoint. So yeah, let's not mess around with it for now. But we got some other pictures of it. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have cropped one and shown you a cropped version of it. But were you able to see the frisbee when he?
Well, I magnified it at home. It turned out you can see it.
You can see the frisbee?
Square rectangle thing up there.
But what about the frisbee? Can you see the white frisbee?
Couldn't
see the frisbee, okay.
On the airplane and nothing was sitting there all night.
Okay, yeah, our field investigator saying he zoomed in on it. It's a square rectangle just sitting there. So Next picture, you can barely see it, but it is right there, right above that street light thing. That I believe is what we're looking at right there. And again, great, because we can identify that building, we can identify that sign, we can find this exact location, we can look at and get some trajectories and heights and elevation and things like that on it. So can't really get the distance for sure, but we can kind of get, elevation above the horizon there. So, and of course in here it's kind of hard to see, but it's right there, I think is what we're looking at. So yeah. And again, some of these are out his side, but these all look like through the windshield, but I couldn't say for certain. So, and this one is right there. And I think this next picture is the same as the first one. So yeah, so right there above the freeway sign. So these are the 5 pictures that we got. And you might say, well, why are you showing me the same picture twice? He submitted it twice, and I really try to commit to as much as I can, being as transparent and showing you everything that we get and everything I can show you, just so we're not being secretive at all. We're just showing. I want to show you everything that we've got, just so I'm being as transparent as possible with the public. So looked like a big what?
Behind the sign, back. looked like a big chimney.
Wait, a big what?
Chimney.
A big chimney. Okay, big chimney. And I think we might just have, there might just be one more case. Let's see what we've got. One case number 129928-U took place on March 23rd of this year at 11:49 p.m. A triangle was seen, valet classification FB1, so flyby of the first kind in Lakeville. This one I am investigating. I am investigating this one. So there's at least 2 more cases after this, but I am investigating this one. Lakeville triangle-shaped object with 3 underbody lights observed while watching the aura. So he had quite a lengthy description, but here's just a segment of what he wrote. So 3 lights in triangle formation, observed size was about that of a penny held at arm's length, moving faster than a jetliner at 30,000 feet from southeast to northwest. Speed was closer to what you would see a jet at sub 1,500 feet, but 0 sound. Checked ADS-B data on the above, and there's nothing in the air. Since I spotted it with a PVS-14, I could see the exact shape. Sun just saw the light. So what was happening was him and the son, they regularly go out and they watch the auroras, and it was auroras were happening. So they went out with their night vision goggles, and there's what the son didn't have the goggles. He had the goggles, so he's out watching with night vision. Son's just watching. And as he's watching, it flies into his field of view. And she said, as soon as it flew into his field of view, his son all said, "Oh, do you see that?" So his son, it was very dim. He said, if you were in the house and had just walked out, it was so dim, you wouldn't have been able to see it if your eyes hadn't adjusted to the dark yet. But his son, with his eyes adjusted to the dark, could just see 3 pinpoints of light. His, with the night vision goggles, could actually see the outline of the triangle. So, and he said it was very fast, just a few seconds. It went from directly overhead and just right down the horizon. So very smooth and very fast. So he was another really good interview. He was just very matter of fact. One of the techniques that I use when I interview witnesses is I'll ask them to tell the story like 2 or 3 times. Because the first time they usually just get the story out. And I ask them to repeat it for a couple of different reasons. One thing is when I ask them to tell the story again, a lot of times more details will emerge and they'll start telling more and more of it. It really kind of helps flesh out the picture and it really gives more depth to it. And that's generally what happens. But if someone is hoaxing us, if they start telling the story 2 and 3 times, little inconsistencies pop up and you kind of question the inconsistencies and things that kind of unravel and fall apart. Not that we're trying to catch someone on a hoax, but it is one indicator that something might not be right there. But yeah, it's always good to ask them. Lauren's got a question in just a second, but I usually ask them to tell it at least. But I didn't ask him to tell it 3 times because he told it the first time. He's very bare bones, matter of fact, no emotion at all. And his second retelling of the story was shorter than the first. It's usually longer and more in depth, but he's like, it's all in the report. And he just did the very bare basics, which is fine. It doesn't mean he's honest or dishonest. It's just the way he is. It kind of struck me as very credible that way. But Lauren had a question.
I've been reading about hypersonic vehicles that are being developed all over. They could be for fast transition across the sky. And one picture I saw one was triangular shaped. You saw from the distance.
Yeah. So for those of you watching in Zoom, one of our members here is saying he's been reading articles on supersonic. Did you say supersonic? Hypersonic aircraft, and they do a triangular shape and they just move very fast across the sky. So that is something to consider. It could be something hypersonic. So thank you for that, Lauren. So this one is obviously not completed yet. I have done the witness interview, but when it is completed, I'll show it to you again, and I will let you know what my conclusion on it is. Case number 130174-U took place on March 14th, 2023 at 9:28 p.m. A circle was seen, AN1, so anomaly of the first kind in Bemidji. This is exactly what they put. They wrote, saw in western sky, and that's all they wrote. And sometimes that's all we get. And sometimes that's all we get in the detailed description too. they can be very short or it can be very long. So this is their entire detail description. Watching TV and live in a log home with tall cathedral ceilings that's all glassing. Glanced outside and spotted it, filmed it while sitting on the couch for about a minute, got up and walked outside of the deck for a better view, and it was no longer there. So in the database it's assigned to me, it's not actually assigned to me. So how we're triaging cases now is when they come into global, they'll just get assigned to the chapter director. So since I'm chapter director, it got assigned to me. It is in progress. So, but there's no secondary investigator on it. So Bill and Ann are going to make sure this is assigned to someone and it is getting investigated, but I am actually not the investigator on it, even though my name is on that one. So once it is completed, we will revisit this one. I'll show it to you and I'll show you what we come up with. Oh, and there wasn't one picture with this one. Oh, this might be a video. This might be a video. Let's see if we got a video because we had a video on one of them. I think this is a video one. Yep. So. Yep. And it's not a real long video. It's about a minute long. So, but and there's already people here in the room that are already kind of whispering it. So I want to make sure, and because I want to make sure the people on Zoom see it too. You see it getting brighter and blinking and flashing at us. And you might, to the untrained person, you might go, "Oh, it's flashing, it's blinking, it's sending a signal," which is a reasonable conclusion, but that's not the conclusion that I would make. What's probably happening here is we've got a completely black background. We've got a single point of light. So you got a single point of light with no other light coming in. The camera wants to give you a really good picture, but it can't figure out what you're looking at. So it's trying to focus, it's trying to zoom in, it's trying to really see what's happening there. So that blinking on and off, that flashing is most likely an artifact of the camera trying to focus than what the object is actually doing. Now, again, it's another case where the witness interview can really add a lot of detail because we could ask the witness, was it flashing as well, or was it just a single light? And they'll probably go, no, it's just a steady point of light. Or they could go, no, it was actually blinking. So it'll be interesting. Once we get the witness interview on that one, we'll find out what the witness saw and how it compared to what the video was. So case number 130228-U took place on September 2nd, 2004. So here's our throwback one at 9:45 p.m. A triangle was seen, FB1, so again, a flyby of the first time. In Duluth, extremely large black triangular craft with 3 dim reddish-orange lights, one at each corner, traveling northeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour with a faint pulsating, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be, pulsating. That's exactly what they wrote though. So, and this is just a segment of the road because it was pretty detailed. We watched this object pass about 600 feet above us. I would estimate each side to be a minimum of a quarter of a mile. So we're talking something really big here. When the object was directly overhead, the front light was at an elevation of 45 degrees to the northeast. The trailing edge was at an elevation of 45 degrees to the southwest. When the trailing edge was overhead, the port side light was at an elevation of 45 degrees, and the starboard light was also at an elevation of 45 degrees. Sounds like this guy knows a few things, was pretty observant. And actually, as you read the full description of the case, his wife is a deputy sheriff, and I think he is like a college professor. So, because he called his wife out too to see it. So his wife did see it as well. So the two of them, pretty credible witnesses. So we'll make sure that this gets assigned to someone, and once it is completed, we'll revisit this case and we'll tell you what they find out. But really,
Duluth, I wonder if we've got any field investigators up there.
Yeah, and of course it's Duluth by Lake Superior, and I think they did say it's by Lake Superior. Lake Superior, that lake, if you know anything about the lake, very mysterious lake. There's all sorts of weird stuff that happens around the lake. So this was very close to the lake, and yeah. So we'll definitely get a field investigator on that. Once we find out what it is, we'll revisit it and we'll tell you the conclusion. And that's what's up in Minnesota. So that's it, everybody.